Back to the phone lines, 560 WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Gil, calling from Boca.
Go for it, Gil.
What up, bro? Hey, like I said, bro, honestly, I'm not surprised at all that this turned out the way it did, only because, like I said, it's karma. A lot of it's karma. Again, I knew this was going to happen. It was poorly put together. You're trying to cover up a bunch of these different things that just lack for, fundamental. You try to out-talent people, try to stand people and scheme or whatever, and do all these things to cover up Tua. And even you bring it back to Flores, right? Again, at the standard is the standard. I can't lower the standard for you and lower it for everybody else. The team's just gonna suck. But the thing is, Tua wants to lower the standard for Tua. Oh, you're picking on Tua. You're doing this to Tua. Now, granted, nobody really knows what happened. But I'm gonna say this: Flores was around Brady for 20 years, so that's what the standard was. So he knew to be great. Now, should he have ran too much? Probably not. At the same time, I think Flores gets a lot of undue disrespect for the Dolphins underachieving. When he was here, at the very least, they knew what the standard was.
Yeah, that's right, Gil. And Gil's cutting out a little bit, but basically saying, Flores gets a lot of heat for what he did, the way he treated Tua, but he was with Tom Brady for a long time and things seemed to be all right. And the team was always fighting hard. They were always physical. They were always giving their all. I do understand that. Mike McDaniel today, I felt, Robert Grieper, that this team was never fully checked into this game. Even from the beginning, I looked at them like, oh, the first series 3 and out. And then the interception. And when they didn't get in the end zone, I was like, oh, this is going to be a field goal. They didn't seem to have that fire. And I understand you've got the backup Tyler Huntley in at quarterback, but there's times where I was like, this team should be given a lot more.
I wholeheartedly agree. And as we were watching the game, we both were going there and saying, when Dotson got that interception, we're like, yeah, that's not going to be a touchdown there. If he didn't run that ball all the way back, they weren't going to get a touchdown there. The same thing with Achane when he was running down the field there. They stopped him at the 2-yard line, and then they started making passes from behind the line of scrimmage. I was like, what are we doing here? I just don't get it. But the thing is that unfortunately, I think, and they were mentioning, it came out post game that they knew exactly what the score was in the Bronco Chief game. So, it was on in the stadium there.
Yeah, the Jets were playing highlights and they were announcing the score.
So they knew they were playing for nothing other than pride. But you think that would be enough, get you to a winning season. And obviously it was not, because obviously a lot of the players on this roster checked out. We know players like, Calais Campbell, Zach Sealer, they were going full board out there the whole time.
Give Jalen Ramsey credit, too. Jalen Ramsey was out there. I thought he was giving his all, too.
Right, but most of, the problem is that you had a lot of players out there that you could tell did check out, and they were checked out before the game, unfortunately. It is disconcerting, like I said, when you see Tua on the sidelines in his sunglasses.
That was a bad look.
Checked out, laughing on the sidelines. I don't know about you.
Not talking to anybody, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know, but like I said, I just don't know how that is positive for the team out there when you have who's supposedly the leader of your team sitting out there checked out like that.
Yeah, how about this? Tua, we're paying you $50-something million a year. You're hurt. Hey, look, you can't go. How about you sit on the sidelines and you fire up your team? Not once did you see him walking around to the sidelines, pacing, going like, come on, guys, let's go. He has sunglasses on. He's got his hoodie on or jacket on, and he's by himself.
Yeah, did you see him over there with Snoop at all, going over plays and going over reads or anything like that?
Or even going to talk to the defense. Come on, guys, or anybody on the team.
No.
Getting involved. He was so uninvolved. So now we have to look at it and say, we've got this evidence in front of us. It's looking like this team, the inmates could be running the prison, and they're soft, as we know, and they're pretty checked out. And
although, I hate to say it, is Tua experiencing another injury out there that we don't know about as well on that sideline.
Why is he wearing glasses at the stadium? I don't know. But
who's he? Corey Hart out there? What the hell is going on there?
And I know a lot of people could say this. Well, they knew the score of the game with the Broncos. They knew that the game was just going through the motions. But once again, you have to have pride. And also, Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, and whoever else may or may not have been checked out in that game. There's a lot of people in this fair state of South Florida, as I like to call it, that would love to get paid what you get paid to do meaningless, quote unquote, meaningless work. Have some pride. Give something back to your fan base. Go out there and just win the game at the end of the year. Show us that you can do things instead of losing to the Jets 30-20. 305-567-0560, 560 WQAM. What's your name? Where you calling from? Go ahead. Hey, you there?
Hello?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing?
Happy New Year.
I want to just punch on a couple things you just said, but everybody was right. But did it look like, I'm not saying he did it on purpose, but some of the plays he was calling looked like some setup plays, because Huntley didn't look that bad last game.
I know.
But this game, I'm like, what are you doing? Like you said, we get down to the 5-2-yard line. What plays are you calling?
The running game was terrible, and the short passing game was not great.
If I see another 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage pass, I'm going to scream.
There's a lot of that. Yes, Mike McDaniel has really leaned on that this season.
Yeah, so, but that's all I got. I mean, everybody else, we didn't cover it. We beat this dead horse. Them guys are not going nowhere. They just got paid. They ain't going nowhere, man. And like that caller said a few calls ago, we could have franchised that dude, man. There was no reason to go out there and pay him if you didn't have to.
You're right. That is true. What you could have done with Tua. Now, the argument was, we'll sign him early because it'll save you money. Because this year he would have had an all-pro season, then he would wanted even more money. So you're actually getting ahead of it. Well, this season he went out and got hurt and missed 6.5 games, and you didn't have a winning record. And all your receivers that also got paid took a step back statistically. And one of them apparently now is saying, I'm not just out there to be out there. I need to possibly move on. And there are reports that he maybe made himself unavailable and was not injured at the end of the game. And he's supposed to be one of the leaders of your team, by the way. Talks a lot of talk.
Team captain, huh?
Yeah, talks a lot of talk. So one of your captains, the quarterback, didn't see him interacting with anybody on the sidelines at all, trying to fire up the troops and be a leader. And the other one maybe just didn't play at the end of the game because he didn't feel like it. It's just frustrating. Continue to take your calls. 305-567-0560, 560 WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Gil from Miami.
Gil, break it down.
I tell you, fans got to be realistic. You see, I'm a Steelers fan for 62. Steelers make the playoffs. They're going nowhere. Their defense ain't good. I know that. And as far as Tyreek's concerned, Kansas City judged him not fit to play anymore. They cut him 3 years ago. So if he wants to go someplace else, bye-bye. Have a good day.
That is true. Now, what you can say about Tyreek Hill, and he hasn't made me happy with what is being reported. I don't know if it's 100% true because we're doing this show right now, but if it is true, you got to think this too. Kansas City decided to move on from Tyreek Hill and trade him. Since he has been traded, they have gone on to win 2 Super Bowls in the 2 years that he's been out, and they're on their way to the best record in the NFL this year and possibly an unprecedented 3rd Super Bowl. Tyreek Hill, Kansas City moved on from you. They chose to keep Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid. They choose to move on from you. Now you're here. You've had some great seasons this year. You took a step back, and I understand he's frustrated. I would be frustrated too. It's been just a series of follies and unfortunate situations this year for Tyreek Hill. But at the same time, there's one thing you can do is be there, be available, be there for your teammates and play hard. And I know he did. He played through the wrist issue. And I know that he tried to be there as much. And I know that he's probably just frustrated. But man, if I'm his teammate and I see that, if I'm his coach and I see that, and I hope Mike McDaniel, if he did, and it sounds from what we're hearing, Robert Grieper, that it wasn't so much that like he went up to McDaniel and said, I'm out of here. I think he might have just kind of pieced out. And Mike McDaniel was like, where's Tyreek Hill? Probably got a report that he's unavailable. And you know what that means. If you're a coach in the last game of the year, when you're not going to make the playoffs, with things going like that and he's not getting the ball, you know that means he basically just took off. Something's got to be done. Hopefully they get after him.
Yeah, I mean, what type of example? Like I said, he is a team captain. He is one of the named captains of this team. And he does that. I mean, what does that show you for your team? Number one, the team named him as a captain in the first place. Number two is the example that he's setting for the rest of his team. I'm sorry, but there are plenty of other players on this roster that are actually legitimately injured, playing their heart out on that team right now. Like I said, with Armstead out there basically barely being out on that field right now.
Right.
And he played every single snap.
Yeah, that's the other thing. That's the attitude you want to have. That's the team you're going to have. Hard-nosed, tough teams, they go out there and they play for pride. And they go out there and they try to win. And they go out there for each other. Those are the types of teams that are good. Those are the types of teams that make runs. Those are the types of teams that you have to watch out for. A team that the second things start going wrong, or when things start going wrong, they take their ball and run and go home. That's a team that doesn't win playoff games.